getting started. It's going live. Here's our music. Wrong song. Wait, there it is. Hello, there's our song. I feel like I should dance here.
You should.
See me in the little corner? Come on, dance with me, people. Nobody can see you. It's all video. No reason to be embarrassed at all, my dad used to say while doing embarrassing things. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Today is where I am currently. It is the 10th of July, 2019. Where you are, I don't know. But I do have a...
2019?
Did I say 2019?
Yes.
They don't know.
We don't want to go through...
Wow, did I say 2000? Okay, this is going to be a good day, apparently. I'm here with my friends who are correcting me on the date. Apparently 2021. Friends, say hi so they can see you out in Facebook land and YouTube or anywhere else that they're watching any year that it is. We are here. This is the Saturday service. I'm glad to see all of you, see my friends who are all here joining. This is Saturday service, and I have a note of what it is that we do, what the purpose of this is. And I scratched this down the other day, and it says this. It says, we are addressing the spiritualigious needs of those living in toxic consumerism. I'll say it again. We're addressing the spiritual and religious needs of those living in toxic consumerism. Because I think that's where we all find ourselves. We find ourselves in a society that is a little effed up. As Krishnamurti said, being well adjusted to a profoundly sick society is no indication of health.
Amen.
Amen. I'll take some laughs or amens or something to make sure that it feels interactive, because you guys are all here. I do want to start today with I'm just saying my hellos to everybody. I want to tell you, today we're going to do something a little bit different than we normally do. And when I taught high school, I kept most of my classes on the same track, so all my Algebra 2 classes were doing the same thing. And if I was bringing in a lesson, the first time I did it, it went okay. But the second time, I did it slightly differently. I always adapted it to the group. But it went better because I had already done it the first time with the first group, and I found out that there were some pitfalls that I would not have thought about. A disadvantage we have here in the Saturday service is I have planned out what I think is a fantastic service. And it will be really great the third time that I do this.
I bet it is, Rabbi.
We have faith in you.
Well, I thank you all, but you talked right over my punchline there, which
Sorry.
It's all right. And what I was thinking before the service is the third time that I do the exercise we're about to do, it will be fantastic. And today it will still be good. It will be good. It will be great maybe. But there are going to be some rough edges on it. So please forgive me for that, because I've never run this experiment. I've never run this religious thought piece with any group before you. So...
Rabbi, to excel, underline your rough edges, could you please co-host me?
Oh yeah. Who is this?
Alex.
Yeah. Alex. No, I know. So while we're saying that, actually, Alex, I host you at this point, right? And then you co-host me back in exchange.
Yes.
It takes a little practice.
We had technical problems and we've had weirdness this morning.
We're here, and I want to say something because I recognize Alex's name, and I recognize Alex's name. I recognize Alex's name, but I also recognize Alex's voice. And there's some people when I'm talking like this who they'll say something and I'll know their voice, and it's led some people to think that there's a really, really tight group, which there is. But it makes it, some people think that we've all been together doing this for years. And if it's your first service here, there are people who like just jump in, be part of the group. And the only thing that's keeping you from being one of the voices that's heard is probably you not talking. Okay, I see a few nods, so that made some sense.
Amen.
We're going to continue going. And also, those of you who are used to talking, try to hold back a little bit so we can hear from some other voices as well. But now that we talked about talking, I want us to... Well, first of all, just give me, like... Who's ready to throw in the surrender flag right now? Like, just where do we find ourselves? We've got a few people with the surrender flag. How many of you are feeling like, golly gee, this is the best day ever. This is the day the Lord made, and we're going to celebrate unto him or her? Or who's feeling like all the pep and vigor in the world? We got a few of those. How many people are somewhere in between all the pep and vigor in the world and this is going to be a shitty day? How many of you are both at the same time?
I'm both at the same time.
Got a lot of both at the same time. I want to start us off today with a quick spiritual. This is the quickest spiritual exercise. Everyone, take your hands like this. Interlace your fingers like this. Please interlace your fingers like this. Make a mental note. Is it your left pinky or right pinky at the bottom? You need to do that mentally. And Alex, if you can spotlight me, thank you. Undo your hands. And now re-interlace your fingers with the opposite pinky on bottom. Okay, and sit there for a moment. Some of you are making some faces. So all you've done is you've relaced your fingers with the opposite pinky on bottom. And Alex, if you can give me the full view so I can see everybody, I'd sure appreciate seeing that. And all we have going... Yeah, because otherwise I go into like Star Trek mode.
That's good.
Wow.
All right, hold on. We're working on it, folks.
There
we are. So, how many of you... Wait. How many of you still have... Let's start all again. Everyone, take your hands. Interlace your fingers together. Make a mental note if it's a left or right pinky that's naturally on the bottom. Undo your hands and then re-interlace your fingers with the opposite pinky than normal at bottom. And just feel what that feels like. And what you're feeling right now is your body's natural reaction to change. This is what change feels like. And it might not feel good. And if you want to know why you're not getting better at other things in your life, it's because you haven't gotten used to this feeling.
I like it now.
Oh, this is perfect that somebody's mic is open. Okay, shake your hands out. If you want, next time you're bored, you know exactly how you would make this hand figure and this hand figure feel exactly the same as you would practice it. And that's the same with anything else in life. If we practice one way, it's going to make it harder. We're going to take a minute to have some prayerful, thoughtful time in a moment. But before we do that, I'm going to place this quote up on the screen. And we're going to talk about it. And it's going to have to do with people whose microphones are unmuted, even though you think their microphones should be muted. It says this is ShantiDeva. He said, "There is nothing that does not grow light through habit and familiarity." There is nothing that does not grow light through habit and familiarity. How do things get easier? Through habit and familiarity. The more you're with it, the more you practice it, the easier it becomes. He continued, ShantiDeva, to say, right, practice makes perfect. You all know that quote. He continued to say, "Putting up with little cares, I'll train myself to bear great adversity." Putting up with little cares, I'll train myself to deal with great adversity, to bear great adversity. When somebody's microphone, because I like you guys to have your mics unmuted so that you can participate, but then somebody, starts to talk to somebody in their house, or they interact with their pet, or there's some other noise on the line, and it annoys you. Okay, practice with that. Practice with that. See how pissed off you're going to get because somebody forgot that their microphone was hot. And with that, practice. And if you can learn to tolerate somebody's microphone being hot, let me put it the other way. If you can't deal with somebody's microphone being hot, oops. Al, I see you nodding along, my friend. Could you reiterate back what I said? Do you mind? That's like a total huge ass that I just made.
No, I love it. That if you can't put up with the little things in life, the big things in life are really going to get you down.
Yeah. And if
that's what it says to me.
Yeah, and talk to and about somebody else want to take it about when the microphone on Zoom, someone else's microphone is hot and it pisses you off. What should you do about it? Yeah, Michael.
Change is really hard. Our brains are lazy and we get wired into things being the way it is. And if we want to change that irritation or something else, it takes effort. It's not easy, even the small things.
It does take some effort. So all right, everyone practice what change feels like. Take your hands, put them in the wrong way. And get used to that feeling, folks. Because the more you can get used to that feeling of what change feels like without, undo your hands and shake it off and if it feels too much. But the longer you can go into that yicky feeling, the more adaptable you can become in the rest of your life. We're just training ourselves. So let me bring back the quote from ShantiDeva. Putting up with little cares, I'll train myself to bear great adversity. We good so far? We're going to take a minute. I'm just looking at all your faces. Hi, people. Hi, I see you. Okay, good morning. I'm glad you joined. And if you're joining on Facebook or on YouTube, you can join us live. Sign up for the newsletter at rotb.org. And you can be one of the smiley faces on the screen, just like all these people who are here. We're going to take a minute to... Oh, boy. There I am. We're going to take a minute to think about... just to my friend Bill puts it this way. He talks about discernment this way. He says, if you go and you do a beer tasting, you're discerning between the two different beers. If you're about to eat a pear, you discern the flavors of the pear. And he said the same's true with spiritual direction. The same's true with when we discern spirit. Is it just we instinctually know how to put our minds in that state, how to get ourselves ready to contemplate. And that's what I want to ask us to do. So we're going to take a minute of just thinking about wherever we are. And I'm going to give you something new to try. Often when we think about being prayerful, we close our eyes and we go inside. I'm going to ask us on Zoom today, keep your eyes open. Stare into the people's eyes who are also here on the screen. Look at them. Connect in. See how that works. So we're going to start this right here when this gets to 12:13 my time, and we're just going to sit for a minute, and if you'd like to look at people, go ahead. Okay, well, thank you all for joining in on that. I want us to look today. Remember these? If you haven't joined us before, you might remember these from a different context. From what we use them for is when somebody in this group has done something for which they are proud. When somebody in this group does something for which they are proud because they listened to their body and took some time off to rest, or they held on to a boundary with their mother, brother, sister, father, co-worker. There was a hard boundary to hold on to. And they feel like they deserve a little atta-girl or atta-boy. Or I want to give you this raffle ticket. And I would love you to hear other people on this group proud of something that they've done this week, something for which they feel like, hey, you know what? I deserve one of them, their raffle tickets. So I'm going to ask you to take a moment, possibly go in and be brave. And is there something that you did in the last week where you want to say, hey, gang, I'm gonna do a humble brag here. Hey gang, I did something pretty cool, and it might just be that the really cool thing is that you just told people that you want a moment of attention. But maybe there was something that you did this last week that you want to tell people about. Anyone have like an inkling there's something that you might have done? I got a me. Loretta, what is something for which I can fill in? I'm going to put Loretta in right this moment. But tell us what it is that you get a raffle ticket for having done.
I asked for help.
Yay!
Yay! I set my retirement date, and I don't know how to write an ad to find my replacement, and I asked my good friend who is a human resources retiree, and she is going to help me.
You asked for help.
Well done.
Fantastic, Loretta. Loretta asked for help, ladies and gentlemen. Give her some screen love, so make a little bit of movement or something. Thank you, Loretta. Who else did something for which they're kind of sort of a little proud? We don't have to tell anyone outside this meeting that you admitted to it. That's fine. We'll just keep it just between us here.
Yeah.
Someone else do something that they're a little bit proud of?
Yes, me.
Go for it, Moja.
Like me, I want just to appreciate that I tried to buy some food that I'm going to distribute tomorrow, Sunday, for the people, for my community who are suffering in this lockdown. So I'm proud of that, and I thank her for the contribution done.
Yeah, so I don't know, how, some of the audio broke out, but Moja's proud for being able to supply his community with some food. And Religion Outside the Box people, some of you helped out to make that happen. So thank you all very much. So we were able to help the Jewish community in Uganda. And you are, of course, very welcome. And Moja, we're proud of you for asking. How many of you would feel comfortable asking? It's hard to ask, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's hard to ask.
Yes.
No, it's easy not to ask.
It's easy not to ask. I like the way you put that, Rob. It's very easy not to ask. Who's got another one, something that you might have done in the past week for which you're proud? I'll wait you all out. I got nothing else to do. It's like a what do they call it?
Fun with Emily.
Yeah. Wait, what do they call it where the preacher does an altar call and says, we are not leaving this chapel until I get yeah, Caroline, I see you got your electronic hand up. Go ahead. Something you're proud of for the last week.
I managed to not take my anger out on my husband and blame him for my feelings and work through it. It took me 20 minutes of having a fit, 2-year-old fit, to get to the issue that was underneath.
Well played.
Good. It's fabulous.
Can we all give Carol Ann some love?
Great.
And knowing you as we do, we know that was not an easy thing for you to do.
Way to go, Carol Ann.
Well done. You get a raffle ticket with your name on it as well. Of course, as some of you know, there is actually no raffle.
Way to ruin it.
These
Rabbi.
work. I don't think it ruins it at all. I think it just keeps it honest. That you all know that this is kind of like Dumbo's feather, or in Space Jam, Bugs Bunny's super juice or something like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
The magic stuff.
Magic
Secret
stuff.
Rabbi Brian, there's always a raffle.
There's always a raffle. This one doesn't have a drawing, but we have a raffle. I wanna.
Is it live sort of a raffle?
So I'm gonna take the reins back a little bit because I want to lead us in something that we've what it is that I planned for us to do.
Are you wet?
Rob, I'm gonna ask you a sec to let me just pontificate as I need, because I've been thinking about re-entry a lot and where we all are at this moment in life, where we all are in this re-entry in from a COVID world, which is still a COVID world, and what a difficult time we've all had in the past year and a half. And I don't think we've all quite taken in exactly where we are. Last week, I did a lot of teaching, and I taught a little bit about love. And y'all remember what 4 letters came along with love? Rawr. And rawr, we talked about love, and we said that love is made out of 4 parts, and that the 4 parts would just do a very quick review. The first part of love is was to recognize. And then we said accept, understand, and respond. I want us to stop here for today. I want us to look at recognize. And I want us to take a moment to recognize what the fuck we've all just been through. I want us to take a minute, take more than a minute, and it would be cruel if somebody was coming out of a, excuse my language, but fucked up psychological experiment. Like someone just went in to do a psych experiment and it wound up being like a mental horror show, and they came out of the university lab and you just said, yeah, come on, let's go get some pizza. And they're traumatized because they just went through a horrible thing. I want us to recognize that we've all just been through something pretty bad. And it might be easier to recognize this way. Joe, I'm going to call on you. Can you volunteer?
Yes, sure.
Thank you for volunteering. And Alex, is there any way you can spotlight both Joe and I?
Yes.
Joe, you want to go for like the gold, and for the really hard, I'm going to give you... let me do it this way. There we are. Hey, hi, Joe.
Oh, hi. How you doing?
Not too good, but good.
Yeah, me too. Not so good, really. The honest, not so good.
Yeah. So I want to do this, and Joe, I'm going to do it as though I don't know anything else about your life except for the big stuff that we've all gone through. And if you want, not Joe, but other people, Joe, you're going to go next. So I'm going to ask you to keep some notes so you'll be able to say what I'm saying to you to the next person. And the rule is you're not allowed to say anything personal about what's happened in their life. You can just talk globally. And I'm going to start this way, and I'm saying, Joe, you've just been through a year where you weren't able to be touched by as many people as used to touch you. And that was really hard. And Joe, you've been through a year where you were just scared a lot. And the news didn't let you feel safe, and nobody knew how to deal with the fact that there was this virus that was about to kill us at any minute. And Joe, you've been through a really rough year that included an election that almost blew the top off of everything you knew about democracy. And that's a really hard year. And not to include all the stuff that you had personal in your life that I don't know about. And let me ask for the crowd, are there other large, huge things that we should be mentioning that we all just went through? Because I think that might be enough.
Isolation.
Yeah. Joe, you've just spent a year feeling isolated.
Well, and the Black Lives Matter.
Oh, we had social uprefts, and we realized what fucktards us white folks have been and how we haven't really been allies, and we've been called out. And that was a rough part of this year, too.
And the realization that we are so divided as a people that even though we've all been through this same shit, somehow it's got separated into 2 different groups.
I think
they're really major groups. And we all thought, I think most of us thought, for the most part, when things got bad, we Americans, we pulled together.
Right.
But that's not the truth.
And we came to realize that in this last year too, Joe. That's a lot. So, Joe, if you can look up for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Of course you've had a really hard year. And this is, if I can bring us back to, this is the acknowledge piece of our thing. This is the recognize. To see that something has happened, to notice it. And just to feel seen. Oh, isn't that wonderful to feel seen? Sometimes it might make us feel a little embarrassed because it's what we really want. And we can't sometimes admit that that's what we really want, but it feels wonderful to feel seen for what we just went through. So, Joe, I'm going to ask you, and guys, this is the part what I haven't done ever before, so I don't know exactly how this is going to work, but we're going to find out. Joe, I'm going to ask you, Loretta, can I use you? Do you have a little extra space in you today? You got room to play?
I'll try.
Okay. So, Joe, I'm going to ask you to say to Loretta some of the things that I said, but all of the things that happened in the last year, Loretta, so you can hear what you've gone through in the past year. You got that, Joe?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so talk to Loretta. Tell her about it.
I'll try to talk to Loretta. Loretta, honey, I just want to let you know that this has been a very hard year. That there's been a virus that nobody knew how to take care of, and that's scary, and it's still scary. I think maybe you've been pushed to limits that you didn't expect to see, and maybe some days were harder than others. Sometimes maybe you over-expected of yourself and you didn't make it to where you thought you could, but you're trying anyway. And I just want you to know that you're very brave and that I love you and that I'm really proud of you for just sticking it out to do the hard things that it's taken to get to today.
Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Joe.
Amen, Joe.
Amen.
Amen.
I want everyone to take a moment. Thank you, Loretta. Loretta, do you have a comment you want to make? No? Okay, that's cool. Thank you so much for being here and listening. I'm going to ask us all to take a moment and make a little note to yourself about some of the things that went on in your life in addition to the global shit. Like you lost your job, or your spouse got suddenly sick, or the meds you were taking stopped working and you needed help, or whatever your personal things are. You lost a job, you lost a coworker, whatever it is in your life in addition, and think about those things, add those too, because trauma doesn't go away by itself. It needs to be tended to. And here's what I'm going to ask us to do. This is the really brave part. We're going to put you into groups of 4. And I want everyone in the group of 4, you're going to have 10 minutes, which gives you about 2.5 minutes per person. And I'm going to ask when you get into the group of 4, and if you don't want to be in a group of 4, hang back, stay with me. Those people will wind up with a group of 3. Don't sweat it too much. Some people don't like being in small groups, but I'd like to ask you to try to let yourself go into a small group. And we're going to, instead of telling other people what a hard year, I want you to do it from the first person singular. Because I want us to recognize for ourselves what a hard year it's been. To recognize for ourselves, I had a really hard year because this country that I thought would come together didn't, and I was scared. I had a hard year because my spouse had some issues that I couldn't help her deal with. I had a hard year because, and we're not complaining, folks. We're not complaining. I need that to be clear. We're processing trauma. We're not just willy-nilly yabbering. We're talking about our hearts. So I'll ask you to share, and as your group is going to go as deep as you allow that group to go. Okay? So everyone's going to have 2.5 minutes to talk about what a fucking shitty year you've had. And if you need to be Mr. Mrs. Polly Sunshine, stick back with me. I don't want you to make everyone else in the group feel odd. Everyone everyone, you feel comfortable enough going into a group talking about what a fucking shitty year you had? Yay, religion. Okay. So, Alex, you're going to open up some groups for 10 minutes. There we go. And please join your group, and then we'll see you back here in 10 minutes' time.
I don't even remember what the hell happened.
Hold on. I am not joining.
Sorry,
All right.
I had a great year.
I'm glad to hear, Rob.
Yep.
Glad to hear. And I still have a few people here with me, Sari and Rita and Diane,
I
Moja.
didn't get COVID.
I didn't get an option to leave.
Which group are you trying to go to, dude?
Whatever I'm supposed to be in.
Okay, I can move you in a
I'm
second.
in the same boat too.
Okay, we'll get you. We'll get you
Well, wait,
there.
Diana and I could be a group.
No, you're both going to room 6. Hold on.
Okay, well,
that works.
there we go.
Room.
I didn't get one.
There you go. You're going to that room.
Oh, there. Now I did. Thank you.
Anyone else feel unassigned and want to move to a room? No? Okay, this is just us who's here. Hello, us who's here.
Hi.
Hi, us.
Hi. Anyone want to start? Anyone feel like they want to start with what a year they had? Go ahead, Rita.
Well, mine was so different in that in the time leading up to the pandemic, I got more and more into a whole spiritual perspective. And it's gotten deeper and deeper. And so for this year, I've been mostly, who are all those people? Looking at the positive, praying, being thankful for what I have. And what I have, what I have is a home of my own.
Yeah, Rita, I'm going to push you a little bit because I know you a little bit.
Okay.
I see it like a little kid who comes out and trying to tell about all the good things still because they don't want to talk about the fact that it was hard. But you and I talked. You had a hard year.
Well,
I get wanting to accentuate the positive, but what do we do with the crappy parts? Just
for me right now, the negative is coming out back into the world.
Yeah. It's really hard to come back into the world.
Yeah, the re-entry is the tough part for me right now.
Interesting.
I felt safe.
Yeah.
I felt connected to and religion outside the box, especially once we got into the smaller groups, because I really didn't feel a part of it.
Yeah.
For quite a while.
So you're having a rougher time getting back in than you had when you were in. You're having a harder time getting back into re-entry.
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And I know you don't want to hear a positive, but what has happened over the last couple of weeks is all these new things are opening up.
It's lovely.
Lovely. I feel like I have come through a rite of passage and I'm coming out changed.
I love it. Yes, we all are coming out changed. Amen. Eileen, Bobby, Alex, Scott, Moja. Yeah, Alex. Rob.
I've had a rough year mostly because of my job and because I've always worked from home. And so sort of this expectation is that now, well, you're working from home anyway, and there's like bigger demands than what there were before. Not that my job wasn't all encompassing anyway. And then we lay that on top of, I have basically spent the last year and a half in my house.
Yeah.
Not going anywhere. and it's put strains on my relationship with my very wonderful sweetie, and a roommate that was supposed to be here for a year, and it's now 3, and we're all starting to chafe on each other.
Yeah.
And it's been really hard to sometimes remember that the problem is external to us. And it's
yeah. That's exactly what we're talking about, is to know that this isn't anything you did. This wasn't done to you.
It's really easy, and you've talked about be angry at the right person at the right time and the right amount for the right reason. And one of the things that I've seen in our household, especially with our roommate, is that he's irritated about what's going on outside, the scary political stuff, the scary virus stuff, all of that. But instead of having his irritation go outward, it's going inward to everybody else in the house. And that's made it a really tough year.
And what you just said, Alex, and I think this is brilliant, is not taking it personally. That's
and really sometimes hard. It's really hard.
And it's really hard. I think that could be the choir to this whole thing. And it's really hard. Yeah. Bobby, Eileen, Moja, Brune, something else you want to add? Scott, you look like you got something there.
The COVID situation, in some ways, was a godsend for me because it handled that student loan. But I lost a good friend. We were neighbors, and he has young children, and I lost my father. I've leaned really hard on Alex during this time. And I'm very thankful that she's here with me, because I would have been in some dark places by myself.
Yeah.
And so in some ways, I'm thankful for COVID. I've learned to play a lot better on the guitar. And in some ways, I'm really resentful of the fact that I think that both those deaths could have been helped.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing, Scott. There's something beautiful about sharing our true selves and being seen and witnessed for who we really are, and not just a veneer we put on. And to really have people hear your hard problems and have people celebrate with you in your success. I had a both and year too, and but right now I'm just going to focus on some of it was really fine, and I got to be with my family here, and we got really bonded together. But like, our anxiety has spiked through the roof. We're all, like Alex was saying about her roommate, we're all triggered. We're all really triggered here, and it's hard to get over. Yeah. Alex, I think people are coming back in a minute. Yeah?
I think we're supposed to give them one more. Yeah.
They're on their last minute?
Yeah, they're on their last minute. So
okay. So, guys, this is your chance. Anything you want to admit right now. You got 1 minute. Oh, they're coming back.
It's been a fantastic year. Thank you all.
Thank you, Rob.
That's how I felt. Very grateful to have an iPad and to be able to get into so many Zoom situations that really was the salve for loneliness.
Yeah,
it's not the way, but it was a way, and very, very grateful for what I could accomplish.
Nice. I really love the gratitude that's really deep throughout under all of this, and I find it really beautiful. So thank you.
I found you.
It's made a huge difference in all our lives.
Amen.
Nothing can compare.
That is true. That is true. This uncomparable. Well, welcome back. I see people are all zooming on back. I know for a lot of people we never have enough time. I will add one. Is there any feedback, anything that totally jumped out from your group as a whole that you want to share with this group as a whole? Anything happened in your small group that you feel is worthy of sharing? I will share from our group. We had a lot of gratitude also. There were lots of gratitude that came out along with all the pain. Was all the little things that wound up being big things for which we're really deeply thankful. Mm-hmm. And that I was not expecting that in our group. Are there other things that came out in your groups that you want to share? Yeah, Michael.
Yeah, in our group, the time thing is something, and this is a great exercise, and I would encourage giving more time for this. But in addition to that, there was a real sense of a moral order being turned upside down, mm-hmm. and a loss of trust and concern for the fabric of the existence of our world, and cataclysmic kinds of things that were very core and very deep.
Amen. It was like hella scary. That's why we need this. Other things that came out of your groups you want to talk about?
There's a couple of comments in the chat. It says, "Thank you for giving us the opportunity to bear witness to each other's hurt. It was very emotional."
Yes.
And that there's like a mix of good and bad feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was an opportunity to actually sort of bitch about things.
Yeah. and
Say it, Emily.
You want to say it, Emily? Go right ahead.
Go for it. All right.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's always amusing when you say "fuck," Emily, but it always seems to work.
Thank you, Emily.
Also, when I sign it, now that I know Alex taught me how to sign it, it's even better.
I want to see the sign.
What's the sign for it?
That was it.
Is it this?
What?
I think for our group,
Ray,
4 of us, was how bad it has been to be isolated and not to be able to have physical contact with people.
Yeah,
I mean, we have, our immediate significant other and that kind of thing, and our wonderful fur babies, but being used to have contact with people and hug people and talk people and sit down and, whatever, and not being able to do that, it's, I would think that it's sort of like being in solitary confinement in a way.
Yeah.
You're just isolated and it's horrible.
And I wonder for some of us if it wasn't when you heard other people talk about what had befallen them, that you could find a sympathy and an empathy that is harder to do when we turn it upon ourselves.
Yeah.
That it's easier to say, oh yeah, they had a really hard year. But what I want you to hear in this, and this is, I'm going to shout it at you. You had a really hard year. And if you have sympathy and empathy for the other people in your group, please have some for you too. This was a really hard year. Bob, go ahead, buddy.
I guess what I want to say is I'm not sure that I would have found this group if it wasn't for the year that we've had.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things that I really relish is the number of friends that I've made, the number of people that I've come to know that as a result of this group. And I thank you, Brian, for having all of this.
Amen.
It's all positive.
Yeah, and I think, Rob, you're onto it, and Bob, you just hit it, was that we're doing both, right? We have the really hard part in our heart that's broken, and we can still have joy, that we can live more than one emotion, that they're like flavors. They can talk to each other. That was an analogy I just made up and I'm not going to ever use again.
Flavors talk to each other, Rabbi.
Thank you, Hannah, but it felt weird. So here we are, and I am asking if we can have somebody volunteer to read the announcements du jour. Somebody who's on a computer.
Or this time? Not a la carte?
No, this is the set menu of our announcement. Do I get a volunteer to read our announcements this week? Yes, Frank is volunteering. Alex, if you would send the announcements to Frank. Oh, Carol Ann, I just saw you volunteered as well, but we're going with Frank. Frank, here are the announcements. Good luck with them. And let me play the announcement song. Saturday service announcements. All right, Frank, it's you, buddy.
You gotta get a better announcement song.
So Frank, if you check the chat, there's a link to the announcements there for you.
Let's see your announcements. Here we go. It's opening up. I thank you. Having fun reading it. Hello, I am Frank. Say, come on and give me a cheer. I am today's Saturday service announcement.
Yay!
Yay! Go, Frank, go. Go, Frank, go.
Here's how I found ROTV. I found ROTV when I was searching for conversion, and I found it online. And thank goodness, thank the heavens that I found Rabbi Brian to guide me through conversion. And I'm very, very happy that he was the one who did all this with me and for me. Thanks, Rabbi Brian.
You're welcome.
ROTB announcements. Attendees form. The Saturday service attendees form is clickable in the chat. Please fill it in. Basically, it's there so you can check in with RB, tell them what's going on with you. Clubhouse. Sharing and caring was seen this week at the Clubhouse, and there were lots of comments about how life is a roller coaster. There is a link to join the Clubhouse at the end of the Saturday service attendees form. The Clubhouse is a private little social network with only ROTB members there. Our friends James, progress is being made with profiles in rehabilitation. As of when these announcements were made, there were only 9 copies of Why We Must Initiate Justice available. Our friends in Uganda, Izera says thank you for the aid we were able to send to help him and others to get food. Office hours, Rabbi Brian's regular office hours this Tuesday. The same link, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Chechena group, this group is dedicated to finding out what the Holy Spirit is telling us. Meetings continue, let RB know in the attendees forum, and you can get you to be part of the invited crowd. Poetry group, how is the poetry group? Is it meeting today?
Well, that's a real question because we don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
Poetry group, are y'all meeting today? We're assuming yes?
Yeah, I would like that.
Oh, good. Rob will be in the poetry group, Ron, and follow him there. The Wild West room will also be open, and that's only if you want to go there. Thank you. Keep going there, Frank.
All right. The dad joke of the week. What do you call a fish wearing a bow tie? Sophisticated. Thanks for all who take the time to donate and make things magic happen. Thanks to Aviva for helping with grants, Lee for transcribing, Alex for tech, Kip for deep dive, Paige for helping with poetry, Joe and Maria for donut hosting, Afia for helping RB. Thanks to me for reading the announcements, and thanks to you, yes, you for being you, and now back to you, RB.
Thank you, Frank. Everyone give Frank some love.
Frank.
I have One other announcement, which is on September the 9th, which is a Friday, I will be hosting a high holiday service. If you want to book your flights, it will be here at the UCC Church downtown Portland, and also streamed everywhere, wherever you are. So that's coming up September 9th. Yay.
Rosh Hashanah?
It's going to be for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. I like to do both services at one time, get them out of the way. Nice and fast.
September what?
It's going to be September the 10th. September the 10th.
Thank you. Wait, you changed. You said the 9th before.
No, it's going to be the 10th.
Okay.
I apologize. It's 9/10. That's how I know it, and I got a little confused.
2021, right?
Say that again, Gord.
2021?
2019? Yes, 2021. Thank you. Oh, please, God, give me a group of people to lead who are smart. Thanks. Okay, so
what you pray for.
talk to me. What are some things?
This service?
I heard that at the end, and I lost that last comment someone was making.
Oh, at what time is the service on 9/10/2021?
Yes, I don't know yet. I don't know. 5 o'clock, 3 o'clock, sometime o'clock. I'll let you know. Just it's in the evening on Friday. I haven't gotten that far yet. I just got the space. So, talk to me as we're coming to an end. So in in minutes from now, I will be writing out the 2-bullet summary of today's service. And I thought, well, maybe I can combine that with the 40-minute review. So what are some things that we got? What is something that you got? What is a lesson, a moral, a tidbit, a twip, something you're going to be pondering this week? What's something that you're going to be pondering based on what we talked about today?
It's important to recognize yourself.
Okay, so I got the okay to cry. I missed the second one. I think that was Kip.
It's important to recognize yourself and what you're going through.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it's important to take the time to do that.
Yes.
To make that transition, to not just go, okay, it's over, let's go out for pizza. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Take that time to acknowledge.
No, we're not alone.
That trauma needs to be acknowledged, that we're not alone.
Yeah. We don't always have to be positive about things.
Yeah, I was going to say that I think thinking about the positives is very important as well.
Really excited.
Yeah. We couldn't avoid that in our group. How about anything we got from ShantiDeva at the beginning?
How are you?
I had it was good to notice that it's the small stuff that help you. I am always very resilient, so the whole pinky thing,
yeah,
I just take everything like, okay, no problem, which kind of, to loop back, take the time to accept that you gotta revisit that you were traumatized.
Yeah.
So I know I'm an oddity. I know people around me, and I can appreciate it and totally understand it, that, the small stuff is important, and you need to work on it. But the whole, I think I have the reverse. So I don't spend time to go, yeah, that was a big deal. And
that's important to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That we can get through and we miss this big one right in front of us. We're so busy taking care of the small ones. Thank you for mentioning that, Diane. Yeah. I think a theme to the whole thing is, let's be compassionate towards ourselves.
Give ourselves a break.
Yeah. Good. So when I do this with the next Algebra 2 class, I will have learned a lot of things. Good.
Yeah.
I think just being kind to ourselves, that we've been through a lot, grateful for what we've gotten. That's rough. It's been a rough year. That's what I wrote. It's been a rough year. Let's talk about it and heal. We have.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about it and heal.
Yeah, we've been through a rough one and acknowledge what has happened. Let's get back to love and acknowledge what's happened. All right, folks, we have about 5 minutes, which gives me a chance to do something we haven't done for a long while. 5 elements of a spiritual life. We've talked about these a long time ago, and I'm curious if any of you can remember there were 5 elements to a spiritual life, because this is what we're doing, is we're talking about spiritual religious lives, and I want us all to come back to what they are. Elements of a spiritual life include 5 elements.
Transformation.
That a spiritual life is about being transformed, and like it or not, COVID transformed us. Yes. And a spiritual life is about being transformed, not saying it is exactly as it is and it's always going to be that way. It's about transformation. Thank you, Rob. Give me another one, someone. What's another part of a spiritual life? And if you don't know all 5 of these, don't worry about it. You're learning them now. Yes, Carol Ann, you got a hand up?
It's not all about me. It's about me and the other person. This relationship between me and
that a spiritual life cannot be about the aggrandizement of self. It's got to be about more than that. Not that we aren't important and that we shouldn't take care of ourselves, but it's not about self. It's about others. It's about something bigger. Give me a third quality of a spiritual life.
Infinity.
That a spiritual life includes this idea of the unending. And if I just thought about this one the other day, that it's also about the inverse of infinity, which is 0. It's about nothingness as well, because nothingness and infinity start to look alike if you're stoned enough. Spiritual life is about connection, and knowing that there's no space between things. Maybe I can put it that way better. A fourth quality of a spiritual life. We got 2 more.
Hierarchy of values.
Hierarchy of value. Guys, listen to how you all know this. It's fantastic. There are some things like love that we value more importantly than things like fighting. And this is that there are values in a spiritual life. Spiritual lives are not devoid of values. They're filled with values. And there's one more quality that we talk about when we talk about a spiritual life. The spiritual life is a life filled with questions.
Something that's larger than yourself.
We got that. That was our infinity one. The last one.
The infinity. Sorry.
Questions are bigger than answers.
Yeah, the last quality that we talked about for a spiritual life is that a spiritual life is based in not knowing. That a spiritual life is a life in which we are constantly surprised. It's not that we have facts, it's that we have, and we're all right with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great.
We're always evolving.
That we're always evolving. That goes back to transform. Yeah.
And we know nothing.
And that we know nothing. That's fantastic. For those of you who are just joining because you come just for the donut hour, fantastic. At 9 o'clock, we're going to have groups of a donut hour, which is going to be hosted by both Maria and Joe for twice as much donut fun. Kip is leading us on a deep dive today. Kip, yes?
Actually, Al is going to take my place today.
Al is going to be playing Deep Dive Master. The Wild West group is open. And then just hang around for another hour and be with. But in the meanwhile, everyone flip over so we can see your face. And we're going to wave goodbye to all of our friends on Facebook. Say goodbye, Facebook friends.
Bye,
Facebook friends.
And thank you guys very much. I'll see you next week then.
Bye, Rabbi.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.